Hello, Tiki Gray here, and we are going to explain how you come back in Tooth and Tail. Or at least one way to do that. We're also going to talk about Pigeonless Badger, maybe also talk about artillery. Anyway, here I am fighting Meek. Meek has this deck. I don't remember. I mean, I might have seen this deck before from Meek, like once randomly before, but this is kind of a weird deck. It's kind of like Tatanka's deck, which is the same, except we replaced MGO Wolf. Both are viable. Wolf is arguably much more viable, but just a lot of options the MGs give you, depending on the map, and they're solid in general. Fire Farm Warren, since Meek does rushes a lot, or other things that you want to be prepared for, so. And you just push across your first units, so they have to put down the Warren. And the difference between 5-farm Warren and 6-farm Warren is basically non-existent. If we're talking about any significant difference, there is none. Of course, some games you want to go to 16 farms right away before building a unit. Or do like a 7-farm mill or something, get a macro advantage. But if you don't need to do something like that, or don't want to do something like that, because I mean, most strats don't need something like that. Like, if you're doing like multi-tier 3, maybe do the 16 farm game, but otherwise just go 5 farm against Meek, it's easy. Because there's no reason to lose a game because you didn't scout. Because if you don't put the Warren and you're relying on scouting, oh sure, that works 80% time, 90% time, maybe even 95%, but then you just lose one game, like right away, and it's just awful. So I pushed across. Meek very, very conveniently did this for me. And did a sold and rebuild. Because I don't have a reason per se to push across right now based on scouting info. But I did this because I was hoping maybe he was queuing farms, so he didn't have a 4th Skrill out on the 2nd Warren or something. Or maybe he sold a win at tier 2. There's any number of things he could have done that's leaving even just a 10-second window right now that I can use, because 4 skills actually kind of crushes 3 skills in the fight if you focus properly. So if let's say you had 3 skills and the 4th one 8 seconds out, and it's right now, I just kill his 3 skills, then I kill the 4th skill that pops, and I kill the Warren, maybe a pig, or yeah. But yeah, so this happens. Like, well, that's not good for me. So really not good for me. Should have let my commander heal here, that was my bad. Almost let my commander die, that would have made me very sad. Then I decided to finish off the pig here. Then I need to fall back, because he has a ton of units making, or being produced, and I actually don't right now. Go back in, that was not necessary at all. Yeah, no, he's just gonna eco up. Put down skunks, since when you're ahead this early and an opponent's still on tier 1, you should have skunk tier 1 versus Skrill, or Skrill Toad, Squizzard, depending on the terrain, like you kind of just win. Or you should just go mass tier 1 versus 3rd tier 1, even if you have more units. That can very easily go wrong, because the mill tanks, the pig tanks, the Warren's tank, and even though you have like say 21 skills versus 15 skills, you just end up losing horribly. But yeah, I decided to sell off the skunk since it's going MGs. Putting down a bunch of farms during the skrill push. And I end up going around, so yeah, skrills are, I mean, units that aren't a boar or a toad are actually really bad in MGs. It's tier 1 that isn't a toad is actually super bad in MGs. But I end up going around, and fortunately he does not have MGs right here. So I get a pretty nice angle. Kinda not the best micro, but whatever. So that fight actually still went really nicely for me since I killed 2 pigs and 2 MGs. I think 2. So now he's going double owl. And it just so happens that I have Badger in my deck. Now everyone's like, you have to run Pigeon with Badger. Nah, you don't. Because when you think about it, Pigeon's cost 20 food, and they have 3 health, and they heal 1 damage per second. Skrills have 8 health and do 2 damage per second for the same amount of food. So what if instead of 9 pigeons you had like 3 falcons or something? Or say 2 skunks and a cam, or if you had 3 more tier 2, like, this is so much more cost effective in terms of value, in terms of where your food is going. And the thing is, when you're running Pigeon Badger, usually your army is really tied to the Badger. If the Badger dies, you're not in a good spot. But if you run Pigeonless Badger, if the Badger dies, it doesn't really matter that much since you still have the rest of your army to win. And a lot of players will like overextend against a Mass Badger trying to kill it, and the rest of your army just ends up killing their army. And we'll see a good example of this later. Also counters Mass Snake really nicely in my opinion, but we'll discuss that later. This is happening. Yeah, this is Skyrim map since Meek's probably gonna have a hidden mill or something. Now, I made a... Okay, so I put down and already decided to sell it. I can't remember precisely why I put it down, unfortunately, but whatever. So I made a really big mistake by not going cams here. Now, you don't really want cams with Badger or Fox, etc. Let's pause this, because cams are pretty micro. Like, you need to micro them. And like, you need to give them good rallies because they're a melee unit. So if you don't give them a rally to like the almost exact spot where you want them, they're gonna just stand there and do nothing. Or maybe they might start hitting a mill or a warren or something. They need a good amount of micro, is my point. And you can't micro cams if you have a Badger, so that's why I didn't bother. I also, well, in open terrains, I actually think Cam Badger is really nice. But the other reason I didn't do it was because I just want to be able to like run away from the mice. Like, if I have cams, the mice and snakes will just end up killing the cams, which is a lot of value I don't want lost. Where like here, obviously I'm not really losing any army actually. Where if I had 2 cams, they probably would have died, at least one of them there. So I thought Meek was trying to base trade. And here's where this is really starting to be a pain in the ass for me. Because I don't have units to put on the map to generate map pressure in multiple locations, which is really what I like. I want something to kill this mill, which would usually be snakes or lizards. I do not have any of those in my deck. I can't really split off the falcons because those will probably just end up dying. Especially like they'll just end up dying. They'll be shooting the mill or something, then the skrills will instantly kill them. Throw the skrills and the snakes. Skunks obviously don't damage building. Skrills by themselves are slow, risky, like they will just die to, the mice war over here. So yeah, I'm trying to play very conservative here. I'm trying to keep track of his army. So I see his Skrill going up, and I see the owls here. So I'm like, okay, let me just go follow these owls. Owls are pretty nice to base trade since they don't need to stop, but they can keep on spawning mice, which do stuff. I also put up a defensive arty to stop base trades. So he ends up selling the owls, which was like, okay, he got some value back on them, but he did lose a lot of value there. So now he's just doing a tech switch. He's not going his own skunks, which is kind of weird. Like, I don't know why he's going 21 skrills against my 4 skunks, unless he thinks the skunk's gonna die or something, and he can keep his skrills alive long enough. But yeah, oh, I totally forgot to talk about this. Okay, so Meek put his snakes up here when his owls were running about. Meek does this a lot. Meek is like probably the only person to ever do it consistently. It's very simple, but other people don't seem to do this. But if you're behind and you want a base race, this is mainly for lizards and snakes, you go put them somewhere on the map close to enemy side. Then when your army moves out, you move in. It's very simple. You don't necessarily want to keep the lizards or the snakes in your base since they have a lot of time to react to that. Just keep them somewhere on the enemy side of the map that's secluded, since the opponent's not going to scout the whole map every 30 seconds. So yeah, let's do this. This 2 snakes in general, it should just randomly walk up into an enemy mill sometimes. If you have a reason to think your army might not be there, you kind of just kill it Because again, 2 snakes kill mills really fast. Takes all of 6 seconds. So yeah, he's sniping the tier 2 warns, kill the mill. Lots of value from him. At that point I was like, oh, this is fun. Because I tried to kill this mill with a badger, but I ended up pulling the badger back to go deal with the snakes, which I didn't want to do. So he's actually ahead of me on eco right now. But yeah, this is just a random mill I took for a base race. Yeah, my farms are gonna run out very soon, so I'm a bit nervous here. And now I'm putting down the camps just because they're nice units and it'll be useful here. And I need units to split off to start killing his spread out mills and warns and all that. Go ahead, engagement. Very, very nice engagement for you actually, because he has to go for these bushes, which basically create a choke point. And see, here's the thing about the badger, especially against mass snake, because if your opponent tries to go for a badger, you just kite your badger back, and then all like half his army value is just running for your army, and you just kill it for free basically. And if he doesn't do that, well, then your badger revs up, and sure, it still dies like it did there, but not before it kills a bunch of units and gets its value back. Yeah, I could be wrong. Maybe I just want 3 more falcons there, honestly, but having the badger is nice. Like, I feel like it's at least worth it. You're probably gonna generally get at least 180 food back. And having the badger obviously adds a lot of better options into your deck, like beating owl, beating a lot of stuff actually. More so if you don't have snake. So I split off 2 camps to this mill. Rebuilding my army over here, I sold artillery since this mill is no longer useful. So I don't need to bother protecting it. And given the way that the game's going, he's kind of having trouble getting opportunities to move out. And as long as I keep my army near this mill, I'm probably good. Don't have to worry much about base racing. And yeah, I just have a lot more army here, so. Like, I was obviously just going to win this fight regardless, but here's the thing. See, he's trying to go after the badger, so the snakes are moving, and like, they die to the rest of my units. Like, look at it this way. So those 3 snakes just died trying to kill my badger, and they put 6 tags on the badger, which will kill the badger. Plus whatever else damage. But I got to kill 3 snakes because they went after the badger, which is 180 food. And now, if the fight was still going on, I would now have a badger that's going to die in, say, 3 to 4 seconds. But, you know, it's a fully revved up badger that has 3 to 4 seconds to kill a bunch of units. And a fully revved up badger is going to do a lot of damage in those 3 to 4 seconds. Even just 2 seconds, honestly. And of course, the rest of the army is still alive, so. And you know, I feel like, I don't feel it. Well, people don't really say pigeons are overpowered, so I'm not going to say that people overrate pigeons. Well, I am going to say people overrate pigeons, you just don't see it super often. But yeah, I'm probably going to become more of a proponent, or I'm definitely going to talk more about Pigeonless Badger. I think it's, I'm not going to say it's the best thing in the real or some miracle sleeper OP strat or something, but I think it's quite viable. It's actually very good against certain strats, like Mass Skunk Snake and stuff. So yeah, I was actually on less eco than Meek here at the end, but I mean, my army is still alive, so it's okay. Yeah, so as you're behind, here's what you do. Put lizards somewhere on the map, put snakes somewhere on the map, or put moles somewhere. Then when the enemy army moves out, you go in. Just put it somewhere secluded on the enemy side of the map so you have a short distance to go. Like, a lot of people just, they'll be in their base, and then the enemy army shows up, and then they try to base race with, like, lizards. Which, I mean, sometimes that works. Sometimes that's too late, and you end up losing. But so yeah, try to keep them like close to enemy base, just somewhere secluded or out of the way, because commanders or people aren't gonna spend their time literally scouting the map 99% of the time, unless they think something is up. So they're not gonna see the units probably. So just put them a little out of the way. That'll be the end of this video.